Trump's got a counter, so he's put his pressure on his little lackeys in Congress, right? The Marjorie Taylor Greens and all those people. And they put their pressure on Kevin McCarthy, who's the Speaker of the House, one of the dumbest speakers in a century. And Kevin McCarthy's got a problem. So he's got two problems. One, the debt ceiling's coming up again. And the last time they did this, they dragged it out. They were hoping it would backfire on Biden. It didn't. It backfired on them. And so they want to do it again, and he knows it's just going to kill the Republicans for the 2024 cycle if they try to basically tank the economy again. Because everybody at this point knows it's the Republicans doing it, right? So in order to try and get the votes to avoid that, he's going to impeach Joe Biden. And this is his announcement on impeaching Joe Biden. What's it for?
Okay, wait.
Go ahead.
Does he, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but does he know what that means?
I'm pretty sure he knows what it means. But here's but the question is, what are they impeaching him for? That's the big question. Because you have to they have to commit a crime to impeach somebody.
Right.
Welcome back, everyone.
We'll play this faster.
In the months that we were gone, in the weeks, House Republicans have uncovered serious and credible allegations into President Biden's conduct.
Which are?
Taken together, these allegations paint a picture of a culture of corruption.
Which is?
Now, here's what we know so far. Through our investigations, we have found that President Biden did lie to the American people about his own knowledge of his family's foreign business dealings. Eyewitnesses have testified that the president joined on multiple phone calls and had multiple interactions. Dinners resulted in cars and millions of dollars into his son's business partners.
None of that's true, by the way. I'm just saying.
You know, the bank records show that nearly $20 million in payments were directed to the Biden family members and associates through various shell companies. The Treasury Department alone has more than 150 transactions involving the Biden family and other business associates that were flagged as suspicious activity by U.S. banks. Mm-hmm. Even a trusted FBI informant has alleged a bribe to the Biden family.
That informant is now missing.
And let's also add, there are reports that are required to be filed by financial institutions when transactions over certain dollar amounts happen, and they're just absolute requirements.
Well, but here's what ended up happening. So the whole thing's Hunter Biden's laptop thing, right? That ended up blowing up, not being a thing. So then they moved into, well, Hunter Biden worked for Burisma, right? Which was an oil company in Ukraine. And now they were tied to corruption. Now, we know Hunter Biden was basically making his living off his father's name, right? But we don't know that Joe Biden was involved in any of that. And in fact, all the evidence shows that Joe Biden didn't know anything about that. And so Hunter Biden would call his dad and say hi when he had business people in the room just to show them, look, I still have a relationship with my father. Right? But a lot of this was going on while his older brother, Biden's oldest son, Beau, was dying. So your other son calls you, yeah, you're going to pick up the phone. You're not going to be like, oh, I'll call him back later. Especially when your other son is a recovering drug addict at the time. No, you're definitely going to pick up the phone. Hey, how's it going? Everything okay? Right?
Well, I mean, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on, one would think you would want to make sure that the one in recovery is not on some downhill being super triggered slide, you're going to pick up the phone.
Right. So the Burisma thing, they were like, okay, well, Biden was involved in that and getting his son that job or whatever. And there was some involvement with was the CEO of Burisma. It was a guy who was investigating Burisma for the Ukrainian government. Joe Biden was a part of getting that guy fired. And the reason Biden pushed to get him fired was he was basically ordered by Obama to do it, right? And the reason he did it is because the guy wasn't investigating Burisma. So when Joe Biden got the guy fired, it was actually bad for Hunter Biden and the company. So he didn't help his son out. He hurt his son in that whole deal. But he had to do it because he was the vice president. Right? So he couldn't have profited from that. And his son couldn't have profited. In fact, it cost his son money. Right? So now, okay, so there's no corruption there. So then they said, well, they're doing all these business deals. Well, once again, the witness they had was the former partner of Hunter Biden, who's now in jail, in prison. And I'm not saying Hunter Biden isn't a screw up and doesn't have a lot of problems, but the bottom line is, even he said, well, yeah, Hunter would call his dad, but he never talked business with his father on the phone that I ever heard. And of course, the Republicans heard this witness in private with the Democrats in the hearing. They didn't want to publish this because they knew the witness didn't have anything. And basically his testimony was no. He would talk to his dad about the weather, or talk to his dad about golf or whatever's going on. You know, normal father-son shit. So that's
Right.
all dead. So they have no evidence. They have no crime. They're just impeaching him. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, if I try to hold a vote to impeach him, Kevin McCarthy already knows he's going to lose the vote. So he's going to just sort of unilaterally impeach, and all that allows them to do is do investigations, which they've been doing for over 2 years, and still come up with nothing. So the whole thing's dead in the water, and even now, the Republicans are saying, well, half of them, or not half, but a good chunk of them are like, well, this is stupid. It's going to cost us the election because we're just going to look like assholes who are vindictive going after him. Right? And all we've done is give Trump something to say, well, look, see, Biden's been impeached too, when he really hasn't. So here I've got a clip from the David Pakman show where he's covering this. This is a Republican, and she's having a rough time explaining this.
Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace was humiliated last night on CNN, admitting she doesn't actually have any evidence against Joe Biden, despite the fact that she supports and Republicans will be moving forward with an impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden. Here is Nancy Mace last night being interviewed by CNN's Caitlin Collins. The questions are very simple. Have you seen any direct evidence related to President Biden in any of this? Well, here's what Nancy Mace had to say.
To support it. I'm just saying, if you could see what I have seen, and I believe you deserve to see
But have
that.
you seen direct evidence
I
related
have
to President
seen-
Biden? Because that's what we have not heard.
Well, we have to connect the dots, and that has to be through the bank records. If his bank records show nothing, the American people should know that too.
And you think it's worth launching that
100%.
to get to that?
I do.
Yeah. Have you seen evidence? Well, everybody has a right to know about it. And if we get those bank records, that's where...
So that's it. Have you seen evidence? Well, no, but I'm hoping we'll find some. So
I haven't seen any evidence, but I don't know. Maybe there's a thing somewhere
right,
about
right,
something.
right. I think he should be in prison. Okay, but on what charge? I don't know. We need to investigate to find out. We've done this bit so many times. This is the backwards way of doing it. You follow the evidence to the conclusion. You don't make a conclusion and then try to make the evidence fit it. Right?
And yet they keep doing exactly that.
And we always do the Butler bit. Like Lacey and I are detectives. We walk in and there's a dead body and I go, the Butler did it. And Lacey goes, well, you don't even know that it's a murder. We just know it's a dead guy. Right? I'm like, yeah, but I'm positive the Butler did it. Lacey's like, it's a studio apartment. The guy doesn't have a butler. Right?
We're not even sure that a thing got done.
Well, but he has a tea set, and butlers serve tea, so it must have been the butler. And you're like, no, he's 96, and he has a heart condition. He probably just died of a heart attack. See, the butler wanted you to think that, Lacey. It's like,
Like, are you kidding me right now?
All the evidence points to the guy had a heart attack. Just go with the evidence. All right. Well, she's not the only Republican. I got one more. So David Pakman did a whole bunch of these. So I'm just going to play two of them. But yeah, these were hilarious. If you guys have never seen the David Pakman show, it's pretty good.
Does any Republican have the, I don't know what you want to call it, it's not really audacity, is it the honesty to just say, hey, we don't have any evidence against Joe Biden, I don't know why we're opening up an impeachment inquiry? Well, there's at least one. Republican Ken Buck, he's been saying this for a while. He appeared last night with CNN's Anderson Cooper, and he says, I still have seen no evidence linking Joe Biden, certainly not to Hunter Biden's business activities.
2 days ago, you said that the time for impeachment is when there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor.
Right.
You said, quote, that doesn't exist right now. Do you still feel that way tonight?
I have not seen any evidence that links President Biden to Hunter Biden's activities at this point. I will be getting a briefing later in the week. I'm looking forward to understanding more of what the Oversight Committee has uncovered. But at this point, I have not seen that evidence.
Now, Ken Buck is rare in that
he is incredibly rare, but there's nothing.
But what it shows is that, pausing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that guy's politics, but what it shows is he has some level of integrity, that he's not willing to go out there and say, yeah, he's clearly guilty of XYZ when he's like, nah, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know where Kevin Buck is from, but I mean, if he's from New York, he's got to sit there and go, well, as a Republican from New York, I still got to play to the middle. Right? So I can't sit here and just go off half-cocked and start impeaching people. Right? And then come back home and look like a jackass. What did you do in Congress? I impeached the president. What for? I don't know yet. I'll figure it out eventually. I'll figure it out eventually.
Well, you know, I mean, some people are just so hateful that they're going to want to see that happen, even if there's no evidence. But there's really going to be quite a few people that are like, why are we spending our valuable resources on a witch hunt for no reason? Like, spend them if there's a very reasonable suspicion of something, because there's been little evidence here and there that's pointing to something, but a totally random witch hunt is not where voters are going to want to see all of this money spent.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the thing about it, I'm sure Biden's irritated because they're going to have to answer questions and give up documents and stuff. But the bottom line is, it's at the same time, it's like, yeah, but there's nothing there. You know, I mean, Biden is not the rich oligarch that people think he is. I mean, he's rich, but he's not that rich. He doesn't have a golden
compared
toilet.
to all of these other guys.
Yeah, doesn't have a golden toilet like Trump does. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just so Trump can go into the election next year saying, look, see, Biden's impeached too. So everybody's corrupt. It's the old Russian thing that Putin does all the time. It's the whataboutism, right? They're corrupt, I'm corrupt. There's no point trying for a better world. Right?
Right.
I also think that's the working title of every Tchaikovsky song ever written. You suck, I suck, we all suck. Let's just give up. I think that's every Russian novel ever written.
Right. And most of the plays, too.
That's right. Kids, if you have to read Anna Karenina for class, that's basically the whole plot right there.
Yep.
But